Okay, Christopher, thank you for sending your project over, your dummy project over. So I've opened it up. So if I come down here and click on the first of your numbers that you entered in and you confirmed it into your translation memory, the first thing to note is that what I'm actually getting in that translation memory is not what you put in. And that's because what I'm getting here is the automated translation that's done automatically by the system. And you can see that it's not the same as the one you put in. And that's because this has localized it from French to English based on what Windows thinks is the correct transformation of a number which has got spaces for thousand separators from French into English, and in English it will have commas for thousand separators, and it has the euro symbol at the beginning instead of the end. So that's what it's done, and you can actually see that if you press Control comma on this active segment 21, you'll see that that brings up what it's going to do. So you can see it's highlighted the number, the one that's underlined in blue, and it's showing me commas for thousand separators and euros at the beginning. That's what it wants to do. What you have done is you've forced it to do something else that it doesn't recognize as being correct, and as a result it's entered that into your TM. Why you got an 84% can only be because you must have turned off the settings, because as I come through there's no way I'm going to get an 84% because all these numbers are being recognized and I'm going to get the localization each time. I will never get 84%. And you can see as I arrow down through here, I actually get the numbers coming in place. The only thing I can think, and it's not the same in these project settings, so you can't have done that, would be if you turned off number recognition altogether. And if you did that, if you've done that, then it won't be picking up the numbers. But I somehow don't think you've done that because that's not what's in the project settings you provided. So, what are your options? You have a couple of choices here. First thing would be to just confirm the first one, and actually if you do that, so if I come back up, if I just clear these ones here, so if I just clear these ones here, like that, accept the first one, and if I press Control Enter, you can see it auto-propagates all the numbers, and it's done them all exactly as it thinks they should be done. Now clearly this isn't what you're looking for, although it's correct. Although it's not entirely correct, because if you look you'll see that there are some things that are missing. So things like this, which just looks like a lot of nonsense because the spaces are missing in the source. So where the number is completely not recognized, it doesn't even auto-propagate it. So it's a good example of where the source needs to be reasonably good as well. And here we have a mixed source where it's not very good. So that's one solution, to let it do what it wants to do, and then you can do a search and replace to correct the target afterwards. But that's actually quite a painful process and probably doesn't really make much sense to do that. So let me show you the solution that Jerzy was suggesting, which is going to be much quicker and save you a lot of time. Now I'm going to use the Community Advanced Display filter for this. If you click in your view menu, you should have the Advanced Display filter if it's not already here somewhere on the right. Like that one is, for example, there, and that looks fairly similar. You can do what I'm about to do in the Community Advanced Display filter. You can do it in here. I just like the Community Advanced Display filter, which you can get from the App Store because it's got a lot more features. But what I'm doing now is you can do in the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for all of your numbers and filter them, because you basically want a copy of the source in the target. So to do that, I'm going to say, okay, start at the beginning, look for numbers 0 to 9, could be a space in there, so I'll do that, and then we have a space followed by a euro symbol, which I'll just copy and paste because I haven't got that on my keyboard, like that, and ending there, so I'll put the dollar symbol at the end. Oh sorry, and I missed something, and a plus symbol. Plus symbol. The plus symbol is just saying keep finding numbers or a space until you can't find any more. That should do it, I think. So if I apply the filter, that's now going to filter on all of those segments, which are just the numbers, like that. So now I've got all of those. All I need to do is select them all by clicking on the top left hand corner up there, right click, copy source to target, because you essentially want a copy of the source in the target. even though it's incorrect for British English. But that's perfectly acceptable because some clients might want the numbers to stay the same format. So you do that, then you're going to right click and say change the segment status to translated. You don't have to do this bit, but it kind of helps you for completeness. And then I can lock them to make sure they don't get touched. Control L. So I've locked them. And then I can just clear my filter. And now I've done all the numbers exactly as they should be entered, like that. There's no point in putting them in the TM because the TM is not going to be a good source for numbers like this because Studio and Windows don't think it's right. The other solution you could try, but it doesn't always work, is to go into your regional settings in Windows and tell it that British English or US English, whatever flavor of English you're going into, likes the 1000 separators to be a space and wants the unit at the end, the currency symbol at the end, exactly the same as the French. And then when you restart your computer, restart Studio, you may well find that that the behavior automatically will be what you want. But I'm not going to guarantee that because it doesn't always work. So for now, in the current version of Studio, those are your solutions. I'd favour using the display filter because I think it's very quick, gets them out of the way, and you could even at that point, now that you've done that, you could go to your filter attributes, for example, and you could just get these out of the way, segment locking, just filter on unlocked, apply the filter, and then you've just got this with no numbers in there at all. And you could do the same thing with your dates. Oh, you've got some negatives in there. I didn't see those, so I could have adjusted that little expression to pick up the negatives as well, but I didn't do that. Let me just show you how to do that quickly, just in case you don't know how to work with regular expressions. If I come back in here again, so let's just adapt that slightly, and we'll say 0 to 9 space or a minus symbol plus space euro symbol dollar, and click on regular expression and apply filter. Let's see if it picked those other ones up as well. Yeah, so it's got all the minus ones here as well. And actually what I could do in here, now that I've done that, I think I can still do this. Go to my filter attributes and I can say just filter on unlocked, apply filter. So I've added it because you can chain them together. It's pretty cool. As you can see this written down here, what it's actually doing, so it's really nice. Then I can just take these and I can do the same with that. So I can right click, copy source to target, right click, change segment status to translated, and control L. Then I can clear it all, come back to my filter attributes and say unlocked, over like that, apply the filter, and this time I've probably got them all. Piece cake. There you go. So that will be the way to do it. I hope that helps and gives you some idea of how you can work with the application when you understand what it's actually doing.